Well, thank you everybody for being here. After the game, we talked about the opportunity for growth that comes from this game, which I think is still very high. There was a lot of career days within this game, but as you watch it, typically after a game, it's never as good as you feel it was. It's never as bad as you feel it was. And I think as you watch it, you see the opportunity for us to grow and learn from this game and how we approached it mentally, probably going into it, and how we can develop more as a team moving forward. Some of the things that I want to see us grow from are the things that we really emphasize as a staff continuing to get better at. Some of those things would be being a great tackling team and our ability to make people miss tackles. So having 181 yards given up based off missed tackles is not, our style of football. I think we're a much better tackling team than what we showed on Saturday. An emphasis on turnovers, which I think we were very good. We're doing a good job taking care of the football. We were able to get one early. I think we need to keep fighting to try to get the ball out better on defense, and that will continue to be an emphasis. Explosives, offensively, I think there was 23 plays at 12 or more yards. And then on defense, there was, just really big plays in critical situations. I think there was 2 explosive plays that happened on 4th downs, another explosive that happened on a 3rd and 3, and then explosive on a fake punt. So that's 3 4th down conversions that I want to say are all 40-yard plus plays. And then a big play on a 3rd and short where, they flare the ball to the back and we miss a tackle in space and it turns into a big play. So all those are opportunities to get the ball back, when they go for it on 4th down and you can get a stop that counts like as a turnover. So those were some real missed opportunities. And then the last thing we talk about a lot is Ohio doesn't beat Ohio. And I think we've been fairly good with just penalties. There's a couple that I wasn't really happy with. There was a personal foul on an offensive lineman that I didn't really like, and I didn't like in that opportunity of the game. And then there was a pass interference and a critical down on defense. And then just there's, some mental errors, things like that fall into the Ohio doesn't beat Ohio category. So there's definitely a lot for us to get better at, despite, some of the great plays that were made in that game, some of the career games that guys had, which is awesome for the program. So I'm looking forward to the growth throughout this week that our guys are going to have. Any questions?
Andrew Bobby at WAB. Coach, you guys have talked about kind of all season the defending MAC champion mentality that you have to play with. Now that conference play is finally here, is there anything else you guys are reminding your guys as you get set to play teams in the MAC?
I mean, honestly, we don't really talk about last year anymore. I think something that you can always be aware of is that, and I think we should think of this anyways, is that we're expecting their best. And that's said every week, whoever we play, whether it was Ohio State or whether it was Gardner Webb, we need to expect to get their best out of them. And that is no different this week. We're going to expect to get the best out of Bowling Green. Those have always been very competitive games and very spirited games between our 2 programs. So I'm expecting them to be prepared to play at a high level.
Chuck it out with the post. Coach, you mentioned the 4th downs. The defense this year has held teams to 10 of 45 on 3rd down, but 10 of 12 on 4th.
Yeah.
Just kind of what do you make of that? And then what are you guys talking about the defensive room to kind of, going forward with that stuff?
Yeah, I think that's a shift in college football in general, that teams are relying more on analytics offensively and have become more aggressive on 4th downs and are seeing more success with it. I like that approach as well. I think we're probably a little more aggressive on 4th downs right now than we have been in the past. Q runs, I think, have been fairly effective in 4-down territory. So they're continuing to evaluate and looking at, what they're running, what they're calling, and how to get us off the field in those situations.
Cam Robertson with the Athens Messenger. Coach, how much of a boost can it be to start off conference play, in front of your home fans and at the Defend the Frank, where you guys have had so much success at Peden Stadium?
Yeah, I think it always adds confidence when you get a chance to play at home. I think it's a great way to start your conference schedule, to start it off at home on a Saturday. We're excited. It's a noon game. It should be a great crowd and a really good atmosphere again.
Grant Kiefer, WAEB, their quarterback, been in college football for a while, been on a lot of different teams.
Yeah.
When you watch film and you see this guy wearing many different hats, how does that make it easier or harder to be able to scout him and kind of have a report on him?
Yeah, I mean, you're evaluating what he's doing at the program he's at. You can kind of expand into previous schools to see how teams have used him, what he's done well at other places. But as you start getting a little bit deeper into the season, you have a good amount of film of him from Bowling Green, and you're looking at the concepts that they run and how they use him. And you're probably evaluating that a little bit more than where he's been other places.
Hey, Brian, Marty Bannister. It's been a couple years since Ohio's played BG. New coaching staff. What have you noticed? What stands out about them right now for you?
They defensively, I think they play hard. I like their defensive line. I think they really kind of get after it up front. I think they have good length. I think their guys move well, and they've done a good job getting after the quarterback. I think they have 10 sacks so far this year, which is really good. And in my experience with playing that program is that their kids are going to play hard against us, and at times those games have been a little bit chippy back and forth. They have been fairly spirited competitions, which is good for college football.
Is it harder these days to get a grip on a team, especially with a new coaching staff, because of all the player personnel movement?
Not at this point of the season. I think right now, you have enough film to go off of, where I think you can evaluate a team better at this point in terms of just personnel and scheme. The first 2-3 games where it's different coordinators, a lot of different people, it's a little more challenging to get a feel of what that team's really about, what you're really going to see. I think as you start getting past week 4 of the season, you have a little better feel.
Coach Owen Lipsher with the Post. Against Gardner-Webb, you went 6 for 6 on your red zone opportunities, with 5 of those being your rushing touchdowns by CA and Duncan. Plus, you just mentioned how effective you think Bowling Green's defensive line is. Do you think this game is won or lost at the line of scrimmage with your running backs plus your defensive line holding theirs?
I think most games are won at the line of scrimmage. The culture of our program is we're going to be tough, hard-nosed, aggressive, and I think that you should always be able to lean on the guys that are up front, and I think that sets the kind of the tone of who you are as a team when that group is playing well. So it's definitely a challenge on both sides. I think that they have a veteran group up front. They have a lot of returning starters. I like the guys they have on their D line. So that's always going to be a factor, is how you play up front.
BG has had a pretty balanced offense throughout the year. They have 3 running backs that have over 30 attempts. Just kind of how do you prepare for that this week with a group of guys that are going to be pretty fresh throughout the game?
Yeah, for us, it's getting a lot of hats to the football, and doing a better job of tackling as a team. And I think we've done a really good job at that, throughout the season, really up to this last game. So just getting back to who we are and how we play defensively, just what our culture is, which is our guys are going to play really hard. They're going to run to the football and they're going to tackle well.
Coach, through 4 weeks, Chase Hendricks is the nation's leading receiver in yards. Just what can you say about the confidence that he's playing with right now?
A lot of confidence. I mean, you can see the contested catches that he's making is extremely impressive. He's playing at a very high level right now. And what's great is Parker has developed a good relationship with him and has developed a lot of really good trust in him, where I think they're very confident in each other and comfortable playing together, which is great with him moving into kind of a new role on the offense.
Kind of going back to Bowling Green for a minute, Charlie mentioned they have a really balanced offense. They do have that 3-headed running back room, but they also have shown an ability to, pass the ball. They have over 600 yards passing, over 600 yards rushing through their 4 games. How does a team with such a balanced kind of offense provide a bit of a challenge for you guys defensively when there's not one thing that they sort of rely on?
Yeah, I think you got to be sound in what you do. Some of your calls are going to have to change a little bit. But for us defensively, it's more our culture of how hard our guys play, how they run the football. Those are the things that you really want to emphasize, regardless. So we got to be able to get pass rush. I think that was an issue in this last game, was we weren't able to get to the quarterback as well as we really should have or would have liked to influence the passer. So I think being able to stop the run on early downs and being able to get to the passer is how you're going to be able to help yourself against a team that is balanced.
First noon kickoff of the year. How do you make sure as a coach that, they've got the same energy at 10 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. taking the field as it is, for a primetime game?
I mean, I would hope that, if you're a kid playing college football, that the time of day should not matter. So we don't adjust our practice times, things like that. We keep to a very similar schedule. It just gets moved up. But if your kids aren't excited to play a conference opponent at your home stadium, there's some issues there.
Do you expect any changes in the kicking game for this week?
Right now, no major changes. We'll continue competing at the kicker spot just like we have been. Obviously we don't want to hit the crossbar anymore, so trying to avoid that. David's has a more consistent week this week. He may get an opportunity to kick in the games, so that will continue throughout. Just like any other position, though. I mean, everybody's always in competition to get the best players on the field.
With Max's injury, we saw Chase returning punts this week. Is that going to continue, or is there another, evaluation process going forward with the punt return?
It'll be an evaluation process. Yeah. Chase is the next best one. That's why he took that opportunity and did a great job with it. We're always looking at, his legs with reps he gets in practice and how much he plays in the game and try to be really smart with him. But the most important thing with punt return is actually securing the football. So we're always going to have the best person out there that gives us the opportunity to secure the ball.
And then are there just any general injury updates on the team, health of the team? Just what is that looking like?
Nothing really to talk about right now. I mean, we'll put out an injury report towards the end of the week, and I think that'll be fairly detailed in where everyone's at.
With Max's injury, assuming he's probably not going to play this week, do you expect to go with that same platoon of Caleb and Dom and whoever else to go in there for that wide receiver 3 spot?
Well, right now Dom would be the next outside receiver. I thought he did a great job in the game. I was super proud of him. Just excited for the opportunity for him. I think he's earned it. We've been trying to push to get him into the game more. So I'm excited what he's going to bring. I think he adds a little bit in the vertical threat to us. I think he showed it in the game on Saturday, his ability to make plays down the field, which is awesome. So really excited for him. And then we'll keep working on, who those next group of guys are that are going to have opportunities to roll in, whether it's Iman Dennis or Delaney Crawford. And CG is obviously coming in when we get into 10 personnel, and he's rolling in at the F, and we may try to sneak him outside a little bit and see how he does out there too.
Bowling Green has 3 passing touchdowns, and all 3 of them have been to the tight end group. Is that something that you guys have kind of noticed as you're watching film, prepping on BG? And then how do you kind of take that away when you go into the game on Saturday?
That's part of the self-scout process, or the opponent scout process that our defense goes through. So, yeah, the staff is aware of that. And, it's definitely accounted for in their game plan for sure.